Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Currey, Vero Beach Police Chief, and I have some information to share with you this afternoon. We're investigating a homicide investigation. Yesterday, late in the evening at 11:38, actually 11:39, we responded to a 911 call at 1901 US 1 Sunoco gas station. Call reporting a homeless male with a knife trying to stab her husband at a Sunoco, again 1901 US 1. Suspect described as a white male wearing a green shirt and jeans, and then the caller hung up. At 11:40 p.m., the first Vero Beach police officer arrived on scene. Officer reports that a male subject is down with a gunshot wound to his chest. The male with the gunshot wound is identified as Robert Stephen Rock, age 53, date of birth 11/26/1962, and again you do have his photo. Let me tell you as well, we've exhausted a number of measures to find an next of kin. That's why we had not released his name until now. We still have not found the next of kin, but we're doing that because we did through hospital, through DOC, through a couple of contacts with possible members of his family. We were unable to notify an next of kin. I just want to make sure that's clear and that you understand that. EMS was summoned to the scene. Vero Beach detectives and Vero Beach crime scene units responded as well. Mr. Rock was declared deceased at the Indian River Medical Center on 10/13 at 12:21 a.m. State Attorney's Office was notified. Indian River County crime scene unit was requested to respond to the scene to assist us. Shontavius Banner, age 28 of Fort Pierce, is identified as our victim. The preliminary investigation has revealed that Mr. Rock appears to be the aggressor and the suspect. According to detective interviews, Banner and his wife, Andrea Brown, they were assisting a family member with a tire repair in the south parking lot of Sunoco just prior to the incident and were planning to depart the area. Rock had been sleeping on the south side of the business, but woke up and accused Banner and his wife of stealing his property. Banner's wife told her husband to get back in the vehicle. Banner entered his vehicle and sat down in the driver's seat. However, the driver's door window was still down. Mr. Rock approached Banner's driver's door and continued to accuse him of stealing his property. Rock then grabbed Banner's left forearm with his arm. Banner then attempted to pull away from Rock. Rock then produced a small folding knife with a blade of approximately 4 inches and attempted to stab Banner through his open driver's door window. Banner was able to move his body to avoid Rock's stabbing attempt. Banner then grabbed a pistol adjacent to the driver's seat as Rock continued. Banner reported that he feared for his life. Banner stated that Rock attempted to stab him once again. Banner then fired one shot from his pistol, striking Rock in his upper torso. Rock fell backwards onto the pavement and became unresponsive. Banner voluntarily came to the Vero Beach Police Department for an interview. Detectives applied for and were granted a search warrant for Banner's vehicle, and we're still working on that, so I won't have much detail, if any, for that. Banner's vehicle was towed to a secure location where the search warrant was executed. Banner holds a valid driver's license. Banner holds a valid Florida's concealed weapons permit. Rock was transported to the District 19 Medical Examiner's office in Fort Pierce, Florida, with an autopsy scheduled for this afternoon. I believe that's taking place as we speak. I want to share some additional information with you, and then I'll certainly take questions. Mr. Rock, preliminary information, because we're trying to get this for you for this 2:30, but we have a number of arrests that have been made in this county, including the city, on Mr. Rock. We have an arrest of battery, disorderly intoxication in September of 2013. Another disorderly intoxication in November of 2013. Battery on LEO in ×2, and that was our agency. He kicked and spit on our officers. That was November of 2013. Resisting an officer with violence, again in 13. A Baker Act in December of 2014. Criminal mischief charge in August of 2015. Another criminal mischief in 15 as well. Harassing phone calls, October of 2015. Trespass warning, November of 15. Aggravated assault, 11 of 2015. And an open container charge, which was just on the 16th of September by our agency at Young Park if you're familiar with Young Park, it's off of Indian River Boulevard by the river. We arrested him for open container under our ordinance, and he was actually just released Tuesday the 11th from that charge, time served. Going back to the ag assault, November of 2015, that involved our agency as well, and he had produced a knife and threatened a female there in that incident, hence the arrest. I want to share a little bit of information as well, reference to US 1 and the corridor there between 17th Street and State Road 60, about a 7-block area. For the last year, we've made 103 arrests for a variety of things. It could be a DUI, it could be traffic related, it could be from one of the businesses there. But I can tell you as well that of those 103 arrests, 35 were of transient individuals, and most of them were for trespass warnings during that year period of time. I'll go ahead and take questions and hope to answer what I can.
Did Mr. Banner leave the scene and come to the police department, or did he stay at the scene and you?
He stayed at the scene and then he responded back voluntarily. Yes.
Why do you have such a problem with homeless people?
Well, I don't know that I would call it a problem. I think we definitely have transient homeless individuals, not any different than any other community. In fact, we all know that it's a lot worse in larger communities and even other communities our size. I can tell you for the last 2 years specifically, and that's why I shared some of this data on US 1, we've had a lot of cooperation in between 60 and 17th with regard to the businesses as far as trespass warnings. Literally almost every business there have cooperated. They've cut their grass, they've cut back their trees, they've improved lighting. It's just been a good partnership, to be honest with you. They've all been cooperative. Most of them have trespass warnings. We've made numerous arrests as I've advised. Unfortunately, the Sunoco business was a little uncooperative at that time when we went around asking for trespass warnings. The manager-owner did not even want to do a trespass warning there, and they had individuals on the south side of that building 2 years or more ago that were just loitering, but they would from time to time go inside and spend their money. So that individual, the owner, the manager, wanted to allow that. Against our better judgment, we finally called corporate, we talked to them further, and he finally gave us a trespass warning for that business. Thereafter, it took some time, but it was selective, meaning he would rather us just do it at nighttime when the business was closed. He would be okay with them, once again, being on the south side, loitering. We drive by, and we essentially couldn't do anything. And we wanted it for the daytime hours. He did not. He still wanted them to come in and purchase goods, if you will. So it was, again, only for the nighttime hours. So that was a stumbling block with Sunoco.
How long ago was that they agreed to put to have the warning up at night?
Well, this was just after September of 2014, okay. And it probably took a couple months to finally get the warning. But here's the problem too, you go by at a certain time, and as long as they're buying something, it's okay. If they're not buying something, it's not okay. He was a bit selective. We're trying to do our job and work with the businesses like we were along the whole corridor. And that, again, was a bit of a stumbling block because it was more of a selective. I want you to, I don't. I want you to, I don't. If I'm making business from these individuals, I don't. If it's after hours and you can do it.
So a manager there told me today that they call police probably every other day on homeless people around their business. Is
right.
That true, or would that be regular?
I can check those records, but I have to beg to differ because, again, it's contrary to what they want. If it's during business hours, they don't want us removing them if they're spending their money for whatever, alcohol, cigarettes, food, whatever it may be. That's my understanding as of today.
At what point was Shontavious Banner legally allowed to use lethal force, in your opinion?
Well, he was in his vehicle. They were trying to leave because Mr. Rock had woken up and accused them of taking their items, his items, and didn't want to leave them be, followed them back to the car. The wife said, let's get in the car and let's go. They were trying to help a family member with their tire, but they were retreating. They got in their car, Again, the window was rolled down, and Mr. Rock followed him, approached the window, and was stabbing, grabbing his arm, and then proceeded to stab inside the vehicle. At that point, absolutely, to defend himself.
Were they trying to drive off? You said he followed. Were they moving?
They were getting in their car. He approached the vehicle, and I'm sure that was the attempt. But again, they were trying to protect himself as well. You're sitting down, someone's reaching in with a knife. He has himself and his wife that he's concerned with.
Do you know what Rock was accusing him of?
Taking his stuff. He had just woken up. We're not real sure. He has some items. But he was just released from the county jail Tuesday.
Do you think that the homeless out there know that this is a spot where they can go because there isn't a lot of enforcement?
Very possibly, because again, it pains us in many ways when we drive by there and there's three to six of them sitting out on a chair and hanging out. And we're trying to get that job done that the community wants, that we want, the majority of the community, the majority of the business owners. And it makes it tough it's frustrating. It's frustrating because we've literally worked with all the businesses along the way there, and it's been pretty successful to the extent of business owners and property owners that may be out of town or out of state that still had their grass cut low and got, took vehicles away that were abandoned. We really were doing and have made great progress in that area. This past June, you may know, we passed an ordinance or amended our traffic ordinance, reference pedestrian traffic. We don't violate civil rights. We're not going to do that. But we have an ordinance now that does not allow you to stand at an exit or an entry driveway to a business and essentially distract drivers and at an intersection, things like that. So we just got that passed in June after a lot of work with different business owners and our city council. So we've made strides, and we've continued to do that. And it's just not US 1. I mean, the homeless or transient individuals are all around Florida. We know that, to include Vero Beach. We've dealt with them in Pocahontas Park before. Our parks close at 10 p.m. We've literally cut off power over there because they've charged their cell phones. We've taken gazebos down because they sleep there at night. We've made it harder to sleep on benches. And benches are uncomfortable to begin with, but we put dividers in the middle so you can't necessarily lay down. We've done a number of things over a period of time to include numerous foot patrols and post patrols by our officers here at the police department. And as you can imagine, we were there within a minute last night. I think one of our officers was like a business away. So we're very responsive. When they call, we come.
But literally nothing you guys can do during the day if you drive by and there are people outside loitering, because nothing your officers can do during the day.
Yeah, it's difficult because, if we go over there and make an arrest, and there's history there, there's meaning, he didn't want them during the daytime if they're buying, and how credible is our arrest, in that regard. We need the help of that individual, like we have the help of the other business owners. That's what we need. We need for him to say, I want to trespass after warning for any time that I don't want someone on his property. We're the middleman there. They call us, we issue the trespass warning or make the arrest. But we need the help of the business owner.
Is this not a homeless town, a friendly homeless town?
This is a friendly town, period. We're friendly, our community's friendly. There's a lot of services for the homeless or transients. Absolutely, this is a friendly homeless town. Again, it's friendly to people, and that's how we conduct ourselves. They're people, and as long as they conduct themselves properly, then that's how they get treated. Absolutely. So I wouldn't specifically say it's a friendly transient or homeless town. I'd say this is a friendly town, and all people get treated the same. We understand that some people are down on their luck. We also understand that some people want to be not necessarily be helped for one way or another reason. But that doesn't mean we treat them any differently. When they do a trespass, it's a warning. So the business is saying in front of us to those people or individuals, and it doesn't have to be a transient, it could be whoever they want. Somebody comes in and shoplifts and they don't want them back. They have to give them the warning. So they do that, and if they come back, they're arrested. So it's not like you're arrested right on scene, necessarily.
And that business didn't allow you to do that during the day hours? They didn't
Correct.
want you there to do any
Initially, they didn't want us to do it, period. we worked, and we tried to communicate and explain why. And the other businesses were doing the same thing, and we need your assistance. And then we finally got the half, not in the day, maybe in the evening, and that makes it difficult for us.
But they're essentially just not giving those trespassing warnings to the people who are loitering around their store.
Not to my knowledge. I'm not saying we don't have any, but it would be a surprise to me.
Chief, is the source still functional?
Yes. There's several services in our county, and I've seen over the years that, the people that are at those services, whether it's the Homeless Coalition down off of 4th Street, I know that's family oriented. They're there because they truly want to be there and meet somebody halfway to getting back on their feet, if you will. The Camp David project, it's males. They're there because they're meeting some way halfway. These individuals have to want to meet us halfway as a community.
Chief, you understand the rarity of having literally 100 yards from each other, two situations with two separate homeless people. We had the one a year ago at McDonald's, and now this one.
2 years.
Was that 2 years ago?
It was September of 2014.
Okay, I'm getting old.
So am I.
So 2 years ago we had that one, and now this one. People are people supposed to stay away from these people? I mean, how should?
Well, what would you feel, honestly? You'd be apprehensive. You'd be a little leery. I know I spoke to a lady that had high school and college girls, 2 of them, after the last incident at McDonald's, and it was actually about Sunoco. And her girls were after hours, and even the Chevron at 17th and US 1, they go there to get gas in the evening, and they just see people, maybe off into the bushes or, what have you. And that bothers their young girls. And I would think it would, it's a little, uneasy. If you take your children to play at Pocahontas Park and people are there and they're staring and they're urinating and they have alcohol, what would you think? It'd be a little uneasy, and they should call us, rightfully so. So absolutely. I can't imagine their business hasn't been hurt, to be honest with you.
Do you know if Mr. Rock had ever received any help, any of these homeless services available?
I don't know. I can certainly look into that. With the time we've had between today, this morning, we're still working on our Hurricane Matthew efforts, if you will. So we certainly wanted to do this, but with the time we have, but we haven't gotten too far in that regard.